Hi everyone. Welcome back to Grandpa Mark's Hobbies and a kind of not a how-to but a what I use to build my models. I've had a bunch of people asking what do I recommend and what do I use all the time. So let me throw you down on the desktop here and I'll show you what I use most of the time. Let me bring you in here. I got a whole bunch of stuff just kind of set out and didn't even think about showing it. First thing I use more than anything is a darn good pair of snips. The link for these are in the description. They're in all the descriptions for all my videos. I love these things. I end up buying one about once a year just because I use them so much. But these cut so nice. I mean, let me grab a piece. I'm not going to use this, but they cut so clean and right down. They don't make that little bump like the cheapos do that I use when I'm not getting real down and close. But if you're going to get one, get a good one. This thing runs about 16 bucks. And like I said, I like it. I put an X on it because I have an old set. I don't want to mess them up. But 16 bucks. There's some on there that are 30. I'm sure they're really good. I've had really, really good luck with these. Don't even know the name, and don't have my visor on because that's the next thing I'm going to show you. But I highly recommend just spending more than $8 on a pair of snips. That does make a difference. If you look at these, you see it's got the razor edge and a flat edge, and it comes in and it just kind of saw cuts itself through or razor cuts itself through so smooth. So let's put that aside, and I'm going to show you my visor. I'm going to back you up. This thing's big. I got a big head. This came with a light. I took the light out right away. It didn't do a whole lot of good, but if something happened to this thing, look, you can see I have it in spray booth. If something happened to this thing, I would be getting a new one tomorrow. I like this. It's got a nice adjuster for your head. It's got tensioners so you can tilt it up out of the way, and it holds two lenses, and they give you a multiple of different lenses which you can use. I'm not even sure what I have on here right now, but I have the stronger one in the back and the lighter one in the front, and I usually have it set up like this. But when I'm getting real close in the fine paint work, I'll tilt this one up, and it brings it right into where I can see what I'm doing. Once the light is off of this thing, it's not that heavy. You get used to it real fast, and it's comfortable. I've had this for probably 8 years now, and it's done me really well. And like I said, I would not replace this unless I was getting the same model. It's in the description. So there is that, and that always hangs up right where my camera is right now. I hang it up on my camera gimbal. So it's right there. Reach up, grab it, throw it on my head. Next, I'm going to bring it back down. This is my knife. I have this one on the desk and this old one. This one I keep the round in on it, and what I use this mainly for is scraping the mold marks off of the kits. Don't do a whole lot of cutting with this thing, but I got a nice, this thing, you're never going to find one of these handles again, but I love this handle. It just got to the point to where it wouldn't stay tight anymore. This just started wearing out, but it does good to hold the blade just so I can scrape with it, and it always sits right there. This one I like. It doesn't roll around, as you can see. It's got the flats on it. I always put the cover back on because I stabbed myself in the thumb one time, right down to the nerve right here. And to be honest with this still is like messed up. I destroyed that nerve in there. So this thumb's gone through a lot. I use a number 10 or a number 11 X-Acto blade all the time. That's what I always keep in this thing. I get them. There's a 2-pack of these that I get on Amazon, again, and the link. I'm not telling you to go out and buy X-Acto blades. You can get whatever blades you want. I get these because it's convenient to get. The price isn't all that bad. And what I like about these is I can get rid of the blade when I'm done using it. I'll pull a fresh one off, put the old one in there, and I keep going, and that way I don't stab myself. This one I've had for quite a while, and I think I'm down to like 2 or 3 blades left, but you can see the slot in there to get rid of the blades. And I really like that. It's just, for me, it's just another one of those safety things. I don't want to just wrap it up with tape and throw it in the trash can. But this holder, this blade holder, is super comfortable. I mean, it fits my hand. It's got a little bit of weight to it. And it's just, I don't know, what do they call it? Ergonomic, I guess you'd call it. So that's a must. A good X-Acto blade makes your day go a whole lot better because you're going to use a lot of it. There's that. I do have a pair of really good scissors. These would be like if somebody took them, I'd be yelling like my mom would yell at me if I took her sewing scissors. Not kidding. These were given to me. These are a Klein tool scissor. And I'll tell you what, I would go get another Klein like these. And I bet you this thing is expensive. I really do. I've had this for like 25 years now. And I use it every single time I build. Cutting a tape, cutting foamy tape, cutting sections of decals off, the silver tape. These things, I've abused them. I cut wire with them, and they just keep on going. But a good pair of scissors sure makes your day better. And then not a good tweezer, but your favorite tweezers. I've had these since I got back into building, which is probably 10 years ago. And I lost them, and I went nuts trying to find them. I really did. I ended up buying another set, which is okay. They do well. They feel good, but they're not my favorites. So it doesn't have to be a real good set. I bet you these things came from the dollar store. I am not kidding. But they just feel good in my hand. They're separated quite a bit so that I can grab wider parts and pick them up on the sides and hold on to them well. And most of the time they don't pling the parts. Not the best for glass, but for everything else, you know, like your small parts and things like that, they're really good. But for like your light lenses and things like that, they're a little iffy, but I've only lost a couple. But tweezers, a must. And again, whatever's comfortable, don't go, oh, Mark's got this or so-and-so's got this, so we got to go get it. That is crap. Get what you like. I mean, you're the one using them, so don't go nuts trying to get what everybody else says to get. Just, I'm showing you what I use every single build. The next thing in line would be files. You pick it up, you got to clean it. These are, I think, Harbor Freight. One of the few things I don't have a list for in the descriptions because I just don't remember where I got them. But they're crummy files. They really are. But they're good enough for what I do. This flat one, and you see I painted the ends of them because when I put them away, that's all you see in the thing. So I know the purple one is my flat one. You know, I got my square one or my triangle one that I do for the like radiators and springs. I got my blue one, which is my round one. I have a little oval one, that I use for curves. And then I have this little wedged point one that I use sometimes, not very much. These four I use all the time. And they're not super aggressive. They're not big. They don't have a fancy handle on them. They're just right. This thing's filed. It's probably almost smooth now. I can actually feel the difference in this compared to this one for how sharp it is, just because of all the years of use. But I don't want to get rid of it. I don't want new ones. I like these. Just used to them. So I gotta file a few more times to get it to where it is. And to be honest with you, I just bought one of these. An electric sander. Haven't even used it yet. Well, we'll see how that works, because 9 times out of 10, well, 100 times before that, I use these. This 1,000 grit's probably 7,000 grit now. How much I use it? I use these things to scuff my tires. Just take them and roll them this way. And I like doing this. I've seen a lot of people do it on the drill, and don't get me wrong, it works great. It's fast, but I baby this because I like keeping as much of that tread pattern as I can. And every time I use the drill, it seems like I went a little farther than I wanted to go. So for everything, smoothing things out, you can see this needs to be replaced. But again, I take these, and when they do get full with stuff, just with like my files, I'll put them in the water, shake them around a little bit, wipe them down with a towel or a paper towel, and it brings them back to life. These are old. These are really old. But they work. I mean, I got probably 8 of them over here, different grits, all the way up to, I think, 3,000 on these, and I use them getting rid of the body, the mold lines and things like that on the cars. Just anything that needs sanding, I use these. I did buy a pack of these. You see I got this labeled 600, the 600 grit belt. And I got enough of them to where I labeled each one for different, the different grit. Not too keen on these, to be honest with you. A lot of people swear by them. I don't know. I can't get into the tight edges with it. For me, it's just not working out. I've had these things for about 2 months now. I keep trying to use them, but I keep going back to these. So I don't know. We'll see how long these last. I'm wondering if the electric sander is going to make it to where all these don't get used that much. Next in line would be a good paintbrush, or a good group of paintbrushes. I'm not going to tell you what to get because everybody paints differently. I got a couple of these red ones I fell in love with. They're nice. They're sable. They were $6 a piece at the Boardman Hobby Shop in Boardman, Ohio. He's got them right there on the counter, and he's got a ton of them. And I don't know where else to get them, but every time I go in there, I'll grab a couple of them. And I keep most of them back here. I do have a paintbrush stand, but I keep the plastic on the tips, just to save the tips. But good paintbrushes. The finer the tip, the more detail work you can do. I got them they go down to a hair's breadth. I used to joke that I had one that had 3 bristles on it. And to be honest with you, it probably had 8. It finally wore out. This is the tightest point I have. And an everyday, I have that one I just showed you that goes real tight, that I use when I'm just trying to do very, very, very fine work. But these are really nice if you can find them. Atlas Brush Company. And I would recommend that brand. This is a 200. This is a 0. But I love these paintbrushes. I'm grabbing these all the time. Between those and I'm reaching way over here because my paintbrushes are back behind. A good flat chisel brush like that is, I use this all the time. The Hobby Lobby, I imagine, I don't remember, but it's years old. It's actually getting to the point to where now it's starting to curl this way because I grab it the same way and I always go the same direction with it. But yeah, these are my go-to. I do have other ones that are just cheapos, but they work great. They're nice and soft. The soft is what I've found is what I go for more than anything else. A good point, a nice round brush like this one, but the soft where it'll lay on your finger and roll back a little bit, so you can draw that brush across, is what I tend to go for. I do have some very stiff bristle brushes. Here's another. This is an old chisel brush. This thing's huge. But it's stiff, and what I use this for is dry brush. I'll dip it in there, wipe it off on a paper towel, and then just dry brush my chassis and whatever. But the stiffer bristle makes a big difference with that. I could do a whole stinking show on brushes. Look at this thing. This has been around since I built Zach's ship. You can see I've even trimmed it off where they started getting squirrely. And that's all I got left of it now. This is all pretty tight. And I like it like that because what I use this for is my decal solvent. I'll put it in there and then run that over the decals. So, and I'll get to the decal solvent here in a little bit. But it's just, I've accumulated probably 24 brushes. And believe it or not, I use every single one of them. So with that, now we've cut it, we've sanded it, we're getting ready. Let's get the chrome off it. I have been using Purple Power. It's worked really well for me. I was using LA Awesome a bunch. I got a gallon of Purple Power because they were out of LA Awesome, and I haven't used it up yet. I got this Weiler's jar. I don't even know where this thing came from, but it's a glass jar with a nice plastic lid with a good seal on it. And I put some in here, and I'll just open it up, throw my chrome in there, let it sit for an hour or so, pull it out, and it's done. Stubborn stuff, and a day. I've even had stuff that took 2 days. But I can't stand the smell of the bleach, and I'm not going to do oven cleaner. Dot 3, I've just made messes with that. But this Purple Power and the LA Awesome have done me very well, and it's cheap. and you'll notice that I say a lot of my stuff is cheap because I'm building on a budget. I don't just go throw a whole ton of money. I admit I bought an electric sander, and I just bought a battery-powered soldering iron, but I use those a lot. 90% alcohol. I use this to clean my brushes. I do about once a week. I'll go through from using the Tamiya paints and things like that. They'll build up on those bristles. I'll put it in here, just kind of swirl it around. And what I do is I just squeeze the bottle up until this comes up near the top, and I'll roll it up on the side here just to get the alcohol across those bristles. Then I'll rinse it off with clear water, dry it off, and that keeps my brushes. It makes them last a lot longer. So there's that. Let's get into holding the parts. Golly, I don't use a whole lot of stuff to hold parts. I use these more than anything else. Simple dollar store clothespins. Let me back you out here a little bit. But just simple dollar store clothespins. Foamy tape sticks to them very well. And let me get a part over here. I'll put the part on it. like that. Then I can take it and put it in a spray booth and spray it. I know I have to come back and touch up, but 9 times out of 10, I'm using the back side, or where it's inconspicuous, where I can go back, or a different color, where I'm painting this and then I'm going to paint that. But how nice is that to have a handle when you're airbrushing and you're not getting your fingers all over everything? It works out very well, and it comes off nice too. You know, and this is 3M foamy tape. We'll talk about that right now. Another thing I use my scissors for is to cut this into thin strips. You don't need a whole lot of this. It grabs very well. So I don't have to talk about that. It's just for holding the parts. I don't use it to glue anything together with. I just hold the parts for paint. And even if I'm brush painting, a lot of times I'll stick it to this and then brush paint. So both of those are nice to have. This is getting expensive, though. It really is. I think this roll was like $18, but it was this big when I got it. And I've had this for a good year because, you know, that was a big part that I was holding with it. So you just cut it into little cubes and it works very well. These, I was shown this. I'm going to show everybody again. But these things are great. You can take them, if I can get it apart, and very quickly turn this into a, geez, it's been a while since I've done it. Here we go. You put it together backwards is what it is. Pair of clamps. And I got half a drawer of them that are clamps. I got a half a drawer of them. The other half is these. It's just so simple to do, and it's so stinking handy. Just flip the thing backwards. Works good. The spring goes in the notch that would hold the little L piece. Talk about handy. I also have a boatload of these alligator clips with a stick. And I am telling you, these things are awesome. Let me move my Volkswagen that's drying here. I should have that video out really soon. Get the plate. It comes with like 20 of these things. I got 2 plates, and I like having 2 plates because I'll prep everything on one plate, and then I'll take it, spray it, and I'll put it on the other plate, so that the sprayed stuff's on one side and the other stuff, and that way you don't get to the end and you're like, son of a buck, I missed one part. How many times have you done that? Get everything sprayed and then you realize your firewall's sitting there after you got your airbrush cleaned up. But I love this thing. And these alligator clips, I'm telling you, you can't have enough of them. I bought these 2 plates, and I made a mistake. Get the one with the smaller holes. The alligator clips fit in them tighter. They still wobble around, but these one with the bigger holes, they're really, you know. So, but they both work great. It's just you have to watch a little bit more when you're setting it down. The one with the bigger holes I use for the stuff that isn't painted yet. Now, tape. I showed you this. I use a couple of different tapes. Foamy tape, I use a ton of it. I mean, I use this a lot. Tamiya tape. If I am masking off to paint, I use Tamiya paint, period. I've tried using the cheaper stuff and masking tapes and the it looks like Tamiya tape on Amazon, but it's not Tamiya tape. Works like garbage. Tamiya tape works like Tamiya tape should. I put it on, I burnish it with a Q-tip, I'll spray it real light on everywhere where the tape is, then I'll come back after a second or two and spray everything, and it doesn't seem like I get that pull in that I got with the stuff that looked like Tamiya tape but wasn't. I don't know what this is, 2 millimeter and 6 millimeter or 10 or something like that. But they come in a batch. I got a drawer full of different sizes because I bought a bunch of them one time. And I'm not going to dig for them, but I got a whole bag full of them on Black Friday a couple of years ago. This is probably a half a year to 3/4 of a year old. And I'm starting to look at it thinking, okay, I'm going to have to pull out another one. This one, has gone a long way. And then I also have 2 different sizes of this white vinyl. And this stuff is flexible. It'll bend a lot better than the paper tape does. So if you're doing anything with a curve on it, and you'll see that in my next build, that I'll use this just because it's so stinking handy. And you can see there's 2 of them here. That gets pretty stinking thin. So these are nice too. If I'm going to recommend getting one to start with, get that size, whatever that is. I think that is 2 or 3 millimeter. Start with that. Get the 6 or the 10, 6 and the 10. It'll be worth it. And then down the road, you can get this if you want it. I bet you I didn't have this for 10 years before I picked it up at the hobby shop. And you can see how much I use of it compared to the yellow. So I use it very rarely. Another thing I have is I have the frog tape. I do not use the frog tape to mask where I'm going to have a paint line. I will put the Tamiya tape on, get it where it's supposed to be, and then I'll use the frog tape to fill in so that I don't have the overspray. I tried to use this stuff. I've had it pull underneath it, but it works really good just as a filler. It's not that expensive. The only thing I can say though is with this stuff, and I'm going to show you. When you fold this down on itself like that, like if you're doing around a window, it is hard to pull back open. So think about that when you're doing windows and you know you got to take it back apart. You know you're going to have to run a razor blade down it to slice it to get that to open up to pull the part apart, or else you're going to bend it. Don't think that you're going to be able to just and it's going to come right off. This stuff is crazy sticky to itself. The last thing I have that I'm calling tape is my 3M silver tape. Now, I got this when I was redoing my dryer vent, and that was years ago. But this silver tape works really good for when I'm doing my lighting, because light can't get through it. The other thing it's good, it's not good for like bare metal foil, and it's way too expensive to use like bare metal foil. But I cut it into very fine strips, and I use those very fine strips as like wire harness and things like that, just to show that it's not going to be for support, but it does look really good. I've tried to cut it thin enough to actually use it like hose clamps, and that works very well too. So you're going to use 1.5 inches of this. You're going to cut that much of it and cut it into strips. So this goes a long way, but I'll bet you any money, when I bought this thing back when I got my new dryer, it was probably $25 for that roll. And I don't know how many feet were on the roll, but it was at Home Depot, and I bought the solid dryer vent instead of the corrugated stuff, and I wanted to tape it off just to keep it airtight. More sandpaper. This is 7,000 grit, but this is wet dry sandpaper or wet sandpaper. I use this when I'm polishing the car or prepping it before I paint. When I'm sanding the bodies before I paint, I will sand up to 2,000 grit and then put them through the paint booth, and that gives it enough to where you know all your panel lines are clean, your mold lines are clean, and you still have something for the paint to bite. So that's what I got there. I'm trying to stay organized here. Um, let's start talking about paint then, I guess. My brush paint, I still use Tamiya paints. 99% of the time, I'm going to grab the Tamiya paint. It's right in front of me, right here. And I got a good color selection. I'll put it on. I have a fingernail polish shaker. Put it on there, push it, and it just vibrates the snot out of it and shakes it up. This is my brush painting stuff. I don't use it for the airbrush anymore because of what I'm going to tell you next, but I do still use it for the brush painting until the Kaleido comes out with a good brushable paint. So we'll go airbrush now. The airbrush, I am strictly using Kaleido paint. I'll tell you right now, and I'll be honest with you, Kaleido sponsors me. I haven't had to pay for any of my paints. I know they're not cheap, but if I had to pay for them, I'd still only use the Kaleido paints. There's no smell to them. They go down well. Let them dry for a day, maybe two, and they're rock freaking hard. I've painted without primer. Good results both ways. Anymore, I'm using my primer now just to see if I missed anything, and then just make me feel better. Or to change the color of the shade of the paint I'm using. From white to black and the grays, there's a huge difference that one color can be. So I highly, highly, highly recommend the Kaleido paint. I'm using it in the house without venting outside. I got it going into one of those 5-gallon jugs. Barbasol Rex will show you how to do that, where the hose goes down into the water with a filter on it. Super simple. Just keep some water in there. It does dry out. But the Kaleido paints and the Kaleido Clear, I highly recommend. And I'm not saying that because they sponsor me. I'm saying that because, dude, I've had some really freaking great luck with this stuff. It's rock on a spoon. It's rock hard. So I love it. And like with my hippie bus, I'm still brush painting with it. Look at that, looks so blue, but it's not. It's purple. I'll put a drop in. That's why this is over here. I put a drop in here, let it sit for about 5 minutes, and then use that to brush paint where I scratch the paint. Well, I really didn't scratch it. I just missed a whole section that I thought was supposed to be black, and it was supposed to be body color. But these things are nice. They go a lot farther than you would think, too. When I first got it, I'm like, wow, that's a little dang bottle. Well, that little dang bottle does go a lot farther than I thought it did. And, I'm not going to kid you around with that because there's no reason to. It's just all good stuff. I do have one here. I think I have it over at the spray booth. I do. Just a second. Let me grab this. Somebody asked me, what happens if this freezes? And I asked Kaleido, they said they test it down to super cold temperatures just to make sure that it works great. And I was like, okay, cool. And I took the black paint, the test paint, that's why the T's on it, and I put it outside at 9 degrees, left it there overnight. And when I brought it in, it wasn't frozen. So there's something in there, glycerin maybe, I have no idea. I'm not a chemist, I don't care. But it didn't freeze all night in there. Then I came down and I painted a little bit of it, and I don't have this. Yeah, I do have the spoon. This is the spoon from the second test. And you can see it sprayed real well. It's a spoon. I didn't clean it. I didn't sand it. I just sprayed it. There's a dog hair in it. But I thought, okay, that's great. One night. What happens if it's in a shipping container for 6 months going through the Arctic? I took this and put it in my freezer, which is -2 degrees, Fahrenheit, left it in there for 2 days, brought it back out. It still was not frozen. Brought it down. I let it sit for an overnight to warm back up to room temperature, and this is what it did. So, yeah, don't worry about buying these, because I was worried about buying them in the winter and having them come goofed up, because I've had that happen to me with the Tamiya paints. And the only thing I can think of is the winter. So don't worry about buying them when it's cold. It doesn't care. Next thing I got is my craft paints. I'm using these more and more. I think I got like 9 or 10 of them over here now. The black I use all the time because it's just the perfect flat black for me. This is folk art. The apple barrel I had, nobody could get anymore, and I had a lot of people asking me about it, and you know, where do I get it? I finally, after like 20 years, I pitched that. I got a folk art. This is what I'm using. This is a little bit thicker than my old apple barrel, but it thins out better, if that makes sense. It's like the pigments are smaller, and I can paint a smoother line with it, even though that apple barrel would paint to where it looked like I airbrushed it with a paintbrush. I'm having good results with this. I like it. This Volkswagen kit that I just am finishing up with, I sprayed it with my Kaleido of Venice, and it sprayed great. So I might do that more often than not, just to get the flat on the chassis, because I use this for my chassis all the time, because I like that flat. And then I'll take my Quick Shine floor polish. I'll go over anything that's like the frame rails and make them semi-gloss. And then I got the two-tone in half the time of trying to paint all those frame rails and the chassis and not mixing them up. And then if the Quick Shine does run a little bit down on the bottom, it's the same paint, so I just take this and go over the top of it, flattens it right back out. You'd never know you screwed up. And trust me, I'm not painting a perfect line every time I paint. I'm back and forth. Like if I do an exhaust, I'll paint the silver, then I'll paint the black again underneath it, and then come back to the silver, and then screw that up. And it's an ongoing process until I'm happy with what I got. So those are my main paints. I've been talking about this Fusion Firm, and I think everybody's been talking about this Fusion Firm, and now they have an airbrushable version that I might, if I ever do a P51, I would definitely get the airbrush version of that and spray it with this. It is so nice. It takes 3 days to dry, which is a whole lot better than never dry, like my gel pen. 3 days, and then you can touch it and not worry about it getting fingerprints or just rubbing off. Good stuff. To where I'm stripping my chrome and then re-chroming it with this more and more often now. So I love this stuff. So now you got everything painted. You got to put it together. My glue of choice, and I'm going to pull out 3 different bottles, but 2 of them that I wouldn't go without. The Tamiya Extra Thin. This bottle's lasted forever. I know that people say you can use something else and it you get a gallon of it forever, but God, I don't want a gallon of it. This has lasted me probably 2-3 years. So this is a must. You put it on, you put it together, you give it 5 minutes, it's dry. I use this, and I use this constantly. You can see I crack my lid constantly. This I'll put a drop, maybe 2, in a water bottle lid, and then use a toothpick to put it on where it's supposed to go. And it works great. I don't know why I'm having problems with the camera today, but we'll keep going with it. This works great. It's on Amazon. It's on the link. I think this is on Amazon, and it's on my link too, but it's Tamiya's Extra Thin. Just last year, I have picked up the Tamiya Cement in the orange bottle. This is a little bit thicker, and again, I'll dip the toothpick right in here because this dang brush, and come on, Tammy, really, is like a kindergarten brush. So I can't use that. And it's this stuff definitely has a strong odor to it. Where yeah, where this doesn't isn't as bad. About half as strong, or a third of as strong as what this is. But glues, those are what I use all the time. This brush isn't that bad. Showing the other one, I don't know why they don't do the same thing with this, but it is what it is. Just got to deal with it. While we're talking about Tamiya, let's talk about what I use so much just to help me out. Panel liner. Just to bring out highlights is what I do this. I'll blacken my grills with it. Age my engines with it. Exhaust. I will take, and I was going to mention this anyhow, so I'll bring it up now. Weathermaster C. You can see that the orange is about gone. This is the second one I've bought. I wish I could just buy the orange. This stuff is awesome with exhaust pipes. Put it on there really heavy and blotch it all over the place, and then come back with this and cover it with this, and then remove the excess with a toothpick or a Q-tip, and man, it looks like an old rusted exhaust pipe. The Tamiya Black is my go-to. I also have the red, this is or the brown, and I have a gray too somewhere that I don't use as often. And I also have, I call it my old bottle of Tamiya, and you can see this got a drip on it. That's how I know it's my old bottle. This is a lot thicker than the other one, and that's why I got the other one, because this was so thick, and this is the one I use for my grills. Now, what did we miss? Decals. These are what I use to help me with my decals, and super, super hot water. You see I numbered these 1 and 2 on the lid so I don't mess them up. The microset you put down, and then you put your decal over top of it. It helps you move it around a little bit, and it also helps it stick some. The microsol helps that decal form into all the little nooks and crannies and crevices and flatten itself out where it needs to. I use these almost every time you put decals down. And it's 8 years old, and you can see how much is used out of the bottle. So it's not like they're going to go anywhere soon. Just make sure when you're done, you put the lid back on, and just what I'll do is I'll take this and I'll put it out of the way somewhere, and I'll take my brush, I'll grab it, dip it, put it out of the way, and then come over and work so I'm not knocking it over. My drills, these are the ones I use most of the time, and it works out to where the yellow are what I use for spark plugs and PCV lines and heater hoses and stuff like that. Those I'm using all the time. They're the exact right fit for the point. Well, my small solder, the 0.3 millimeter. This is my spark plug lines, my battery cables, my brake lines, my fuel lines. I use this stuff a lot, and this has gone 5 years now. And then I have this one that my buddy Scott gave me. It's 0.8 millimeter, and it's going to last me the rest of my freaking life. Don't know where he got it. Probably a place called Ross Radio, downtown Youngstown. This is my heater hoses, my PCV lines, brake booster cable or brake booster line, things like that. Anything that's going to be the next level up. And it works perfect. Both of these paint really, really well. And I use the Tamiya paints on them. And even when I'm flexing them around, it doesn't seem like they flake off. Now, when I'm grabbing them with my tweezers, I'll nick them and stuff like that. But you can go right back in there with one of my paint brushes, touch that up, and you never know you did it. So that's my solder. We're coming down here to where I'm almost done. Mod Podge. I use this stuff all the time. Windows, headlights, parts, chrome pieces that I don't want to have super glue screw up the paint. I'll use the Mod Podge. It doesn't glue like super glue, so you're still got to, you're not going to manhandle your kit anyhow, but it holds the chrome in place decent enough to where you can move it around, you can put it on the shelf. And I haven't had stuff just fall off with it. It never have. But I have knocked off mirrors and things like that I've had glued on with it. So you got to be careful. You're using something that's basically a little bit thicker Elmer's glue or white glue, but it works great. It's super clear. And again, I use it all the time. What I am using more now, though, is my UV resin. And this is an Amazon. I got it in the list. I got the one with the big light with the feet. And I can fold the feet down, push the button, and go to town. I also make sure you get sunglasses that work with 400 UV 400. No sense in burning your corneas out to build a model. But this stuff is awesome. I've actually made headlights with it. Like the AMTs and the MPCs, where they have just the chrome headlights. I will do a little paint work behind it, put a little bit of this on with a toothpick, make sure it's exactly where you want it, and then hit it with the light, and it makes it look like a good clear lens over top. It gives it a lot better look than just that chrome. The other thing it's awesome for, and what I use it for every single time, is dashboards. I'll put my decals in, or I'll paint my gauges in, whatever. And then when that's done and dry, I'll put a drop of this on it. Make sure that it's all even with a toothpick, to where it's pushed up against the sides all the way around evenly, so you don't have any depressions, because they do show up. Hit it for 1 minute, and it's solid. And now you got a lens over top of that decal, and it really looks good. Highly recommend it. It's one of those things that, it's maybe got $20 in it, but I'm surprised at how much I'm using it. The other thing I'm using it for is when I'm doing my LED lights, I'll put the LED in place, put a drop of this in there, hit it with the light, and in 1 minute now I can start moving instead of waiting for quick shine or Mod Podge to dry. So I can lay the lights out so much faster. And I'm not even talking about doing lighting in this video. But yeah, it's one of those things that I said, no, that's a luxury until I got it, and now I'm using it all the time. The kit that I got comes with 2 bottles of these. I use a drop at a time. That's going to last me a long time. The other one I got in a cupboard behind me, closed off so where the light can't get to it. And I don't know if the light can get to this one or not, but it's still as thin as it was when I got it 6 months ago. So there's that. Now, the other thing I have that I'm going to say you kind of need, but you don't, if you're going to do spark plug wires, this is so nice. But you need this with it. Just a dental tool, dollar store, wherever you can get it, cheap, because you're not putting it in your mouth. I will heat this thing up with the lighter, just like this, until it's not glowing, but hot. And I will take the head, put that in the head, get it to where it makes an indentation, turn a quarter turn like that and pull it out. You can see that left that little center mark. And that's a perfect spot for that drill bit to drill into. It's a lot easier to get this on center than it is to get that drill bit on center. So since I've started using this, my spark plug wires lay a lot nicer than they used to. Last thing is something nice like this to hold your parts. This was gifted to me. I love this thing. Uh, I got a couple of them, and I keep them at different stations for different things. But well, you can see I was cotton balls, and I got everything in here. This is kind of my like my trapper keeper of modeling. But these are nice to have. You pull out an empty one when you're doing your build, and you'll be surprised at how many parts end up in here instead of where they're on the floor and you're looking for them. So with that, I think I covered everything that I know, almost covered everything on the desk. I use so many bottle caps. It's not even funny. When I tell you I use a drop of my super glue or a drop of the UV resin or a little bit of the modeling paint, a lot of times I'll use a spoon because I have them, because I'm using them to test with. But for super glue and for the resin, I use these things all the time. Can't have enough of these things in the shop. I got a whole drawer full. I threw it out there a while back to where if anybody wanted to send me some, to send them. I'm retracting that statement now because I got enough for about 3 years, and I want to thank everybody that sent them to me. I do. I use them so much. I use them more than the family uses water bottles. So I kept running out, and then I'm trying to put super glue on top of dried, cracked super glue, and it's just hard to take it out. It's just so nice to take a toothpick. You come in, you take what you need, you put it on what you're going, you take the toothpick and kind of set it in a corner. The toothpick stays, and it's just so convenient. Toothpick for super glue. Awesome. But, I mean, just something stupid simple like that. Like I said, it doesn't have to cost anything to really work out. This solder, I bet you, was $8, and I've done probably 50 models with it. The drill bits, the two that I use, I don't usually break because they're big enough. The little tiny ones that I do, like sometimes I want to get stupid and run really my AWG 32 wire to do sensing lines or something goofy like that. And then I'll break off one. But usually I'm not breaking off these drill bits drilling out for spark plug wires, and especially since I started doing this. So there's that. I'm doing a quick scan of my desk. Did I miss anything? Shop towels I use, put stuff on top of while I paint, clean my glasses, stuff like that. I have a Sloan toilet repair strap wrench. I got these $9 on Amazon. I bought 2 of them, and I use these things because my arthritis right here in my thumb makes it to where I have a heck of a time opening a bottle. But with this, I'll come in here, put this around here, tighten it up, and now I'm not using my thumb to open that up, and then I don't walk out of here where my fingers won't go together. It works great, especially sometimes, I used to take these things and shake them and then paint out of the cap, and then it's a mess. It makes these caps stick really bad. Now what I'll do is I'll shake these things on the nail polish shaker and then dip my brush in them, and they're a lot easier to open. They don't seem to be sticking as much. Last thing, Q-tips, a crap load of them. Go buy the biggest box you can get. You won't be sorry. These are cheapos I got on Amazon. I got 2 boxes for like $3. Black Friday sale thing. And this one's got the pointy end and the round end. I like the Q-tip brand paper center Q-tip that you get from the dollar store a lot better than these for everyday modeling stuff. These, if you do bare metal foil, these are awesome with that nice tight point for burnishing them in. But for my everyday Q-tip, like doing decals and things like that, you just can't beat that dollar store Q-tip. So I think that's about got everything covered here. How about if we thank Gallery again for everything they've done for my show, everything they've done for our hobby. If you decide on going with the Gallery paints or going with the airbrushes, use Grandpa Mark in your coupon code. Even if it's on sale, you'll still get 10% off your order. Let's thank our active duty members, our veterans, and our first responders. They put it on the line for us every single day, and I salute each and every one of you. And I want to thank everybody out there for just keep coming back and watching my videos and all the questions you're asking me, so I can do a video like this every once in a while and throw things out. I've been asked to do live videos. It's going to probably be a while before I can do them, but I'm getting prepared for them. A couple buddies and I are even talking about doing podcasts. I don't know anything about a podcast, so I'm going to learn on that one too. But it sounds like fun. Again, when I have the time to do it. So the shops, we're rolling. I'm getting back into the swing of things now. Um, I was really super busy and I haven't been down here as much as I wanted to be. That'll change here coming up real soon. I'm going to start really getting into it. My Volkswagen buck is done. I'm waiting for the decals to set up. I'm going to quick shine over top of them real quick tomorrow. I'll have that video out probably Monday. And then I'm going to jump right into Lennis's Do It Again build. So with that, I'll let you go. Y'all have a great day, a better tomorrow, and thank you very much for watching. I could hit stop now, huh?